I would start by saying that we're starting now to observe very important durable response rates in diffuse large B-cell lymphoma patients who are relapsed refractory, which is a very heavily pretreated patient population with a great unmet medical need. From the registration study, we see durable response rates of complete responses and partial responses that are durable at the 2-year mark and beyond. It's something that we haven't observed before as compared to historical controls. These patients had much less response rates, so in the range of 7%. We also observed that more than half of those patients are still alive at the 2-year follow-up, which again compares very favorably to the historical controls of these patients surviving about 6 months. We also see encouraging data from the acute lymphoblastic leukemia studies, 2 studies that we're reporting end of phase 1 data on, both on the adult and pediatric population, high rates of response rates, and importantly, for those patients who are choosing with the dose to go into the phase 2 part of the study, we've seen 100% minimal residual disease negativity, which is an important target to achieve, acceptable safety profile. So the phase 2 portions of these 2 studies are currently ongoing. That's an important question. We're still enhancing our understanding of the biology behind the disease and which patient population have the most likelihood of responding better to CAR T therapy. And to that effect, a lot of research work is currently ongoing in our early research team. Correlative science work is underway to really answer that question. But what we've observed from real-world setting and practice is that those patients who are starting with a lower burden of disease tend to respond better. And this is why we see more and more usage of bridging therapy in the real clinical setting practice. What we've observed from the real-world evidence studies as well is that patients who are not typically eligible for the registration studies get comparable response rates and have the same safety profile, comparable safety profile. So this is very important because in the real-world setting, and there are some data that would support that evidence in several hundred patients, those patients who might have comorbidities related to cardiac functions, liver disease or renal functions, or have received bridging therapy wouldn't have been typically included in the registration study because of the strict inclusion-exclusion criteria there. This is important because what we see in the real-world setting through these data, these patients are getting comparable efficacy and comparable safety as well. You know, in manufacturing, these cells are made to order, which means that we take the cells from the patients, we take them through different steps of manufacturing, we do genetic modifications in order to equip the cells to recognize the tumor cells, and once they are injected back in the body, they go and attack them. This process takes 2 to 4 weeks time, and patients are there sitting, waiting until they get the treatment. So of course, everything that we can do in order to enhance the speed of turnaround of getting back the final product to the patients is very important. And it's something that we focus on and we try to address through automation of processes, streamlining some of the manufacturing processes steps in order to shorten that time frame. What's really important as well is that you need very specialized expertise in manufacturing in that setting. You need to ensure a high quality processes that are in place and good assurance of the different steps that are taken, which takes time to onboard people and train them and make them ready to deal with that challenge. But very importantly as well, we're expanding our presence and indications, and we're expanding our geographical reach as well. So for that, we need to scale up our manufacturing capabilities, and that's why on top of El Segundo manufacturing facility that we have in California, we're building another facility in Maryland, but also outside of the US, we have our manufacturing facility that's being built here in Amsterdam, and will be operationalized and ready to manufacture by the beginning of next year, and will serve the patient populations outside of the US and hopefully improve on the turnaround time as well.